Hey guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel, and I apologize if the coloring and lighting is a little bit strange in this video. Not sure what's going on, but in my monitor I look really yellow right now. I tried working with my camera a little bit and I couldn't seem to figure it out, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully by the next video I can have this all straightened out and it'll look a little bit more normal. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, for this video we are going to do a Q&A. Back at the beginning of August, or at least a couple of weeks ago, I asked you guys to ask me some questions for a Q&A, and I was really nervous about it. I wasn't sure if anybody really wanted to know anything about me, but thank you to everybody who asked me some questions. I got some really great ones, so thank you guys all so very much for participating. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to answer some of the questions. I probably won't be able to get to all of them just because I don't want to make this a super long video, but let me pull up the questions and we will dive right in. Alright, so let me just go ahead and answer the question that I got asked the most, and I knew that I was going to get asked this question, and it was if we are going to have any more kids. If you don't know, I do have a 4.5-year-old son. His name is Harry, but he is the only kid that we have right now. And if you would have asked me this question maybe 2.5 years ago, and then all the way back to when he was born, I would have said no, I do not want any more kids. I was perfectly fine just having one kid, one and done. That totally was fine with me. But over the last, I don't know, year and a half or so, I've kind of changed my tune a little bit, and I've become a little bit more open to having another kid. If it doesn't end up happening, I am totally fine with that, just having one kid. But if it does happen, I would be very happy about it as well. So I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, and I am getting a little bit older, so if it's gonna happen, I do kind of want it to happen soon. Not saying that I'm pregnant right now, because I'm not. But you know, I don't know, we're talking about it, and we'll see. But either way, I'm totally cool with it. And for our family, I'm really glad that if we do have another kid, they're not going to be super close in age. I bow down to all of you moms that can handle 2 kids at once, like 2 little kids. I certainly know for a fact that I wouldn't have been able to. It would have just driven me insane, like literally clinically insane. I could not have handled that. So if we do have another kid, I'm glad that there's going to be a big age gap. I don't know, and I know that doesn't work for a lot of families, but for us, that's definitely would be the best way for us. But again, you know, we might not. I don't really know right now, and I know that's kind of a non-answer, but that's all I can give you right now. But if I do ever end up getting pregnant, of course I will announce it on my YouTube channel, and I'm sure I will do pregnancy vlogs like I did with Harry. I really had a fun time doing those back in the day. But anyways, let's move on to another question here. Hold on, let me pull it up. My tablet keeps turning off. All right, next set of questions all kind of have to do with pregnancy. How did you feel when you knew you were pregnant? Were you looking to get pregnant? How does it feel to be a mom? Best part, worst part? Do you want to have other babies? Which I did already answer. How did I know that I was pregnant? Well, the first, or like the 3 nights before I actually took a pregnancy test, I went to bed at like 8 o'clock and slept from like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. like for 3 nights in a row, and I literally have never ever in my life done that. So that was kind of like a dead giveaway, but I wasn't really thinking I was going to be pregnant, so I didn't like kind of put the 2 and 2 together. But that definitely was the first sign that I had that I was pregnant, and I still remember those 3 days. I have literally never been more tired in my life. It was just the weirdest feeling. It was the weirdest tired feeling. Like I could not even hardly open my eyes. I don't know how to describe it, but it was just a very different kind of tired feeling that I had ever experienced before. But then the following day after those 3 days, maybe it was just 2 nights, whatever it was, I remember we were eating dinner and I kind of felt a little just off. Like, I don't know, like my stomach I think hurt a little bit. Like I had a little bit of cramping, but I wasn't on my period. So I don't know. My husband said, why don't you just take a pregnancy test? So I did, and I wasn't expecting anything, and it turned out, of course, to be positive. So that's how I felt that I was pregnant. And then was I looking to get pregnant back then? Well, I definitely knew that I wasn't trying to avoid getting pregnant, I guess you could say. We weren't like charting or doing any of that stuff. We weren't like really trying, like, okay, I need to get pregnant right now. We're just kind of, if it happens, it happens. So yeah. And then how does it feel to be a mom, and the best part and the worst part? I always knew that I wanted to be a mom, and I do, like, for the most part, I think it feels really good. It's nice to have somebody always like depending on you. Of course, they can scream at you and kick you and hit you and bite you, and that is, you know, pretty terrible. I would say like the tantrums, at least as of right now with a 4.5-year-old, those are the worst parts. You know, they are kind of, hopefully, you know, knock on wood, they are kind of, you know, getting farther and farther apart, but we did kind of have a major meltdown at a restaurant the other week, and that was rather embarrassing. But you know, you just kind of have to deal with it and you know, just know that you're not the only person that has ever had a child throw a huge tantrum in the middle of a restaurant before. And the best part is just kind of, I guess, that's a really hard question, but I guess probably just seeing him go from like this tiny little newborn that knew absolutely nothing in the world to now as a 4.5-year-old who knows so much about the world because me and my husband taught it to him. Like, I don't know, is that selfish? Maybe a little bit, but it's so cool to see, and it's so cool just to see him grow and his curiosity grow and his imagination grow, and just, you know, he's discovering new things every day, and it's a really cool thing to experience. And I know having kids is not for everybody, but I'm really glad that we got to experience it at least once. Who knows, like I said, if we will have another one, but yeah, I don't know. For the most part, I do really enjoy being a mom. There are some really, really tough days, and as he's gotten older, I feel like the tough days get even tougher, if that makes sense. And you know, he's only 4.5, so they're only going to get tougher from here on out, I feel, but in different kind of ways. Obviously, he's not really going to be throwing tantrums in the middle of a restaurant when he's 10, hopefully, but you know, for the most part, I do really enjoy being a mom, and he, you know, for the most part is a really, really good kid. He listens sometimes. I think he's getting a little bit better about it, and it's so much easier now to explain things to him and have him understand things, because, you know, of course I try to, you know, bring it down to a 4.5-year-old level, but the 4.5-year-old level is way better for me to understand and try to articulate than a 3.5-year-old level. So it's just, I don't know, in a way it is easier too, but like I said, it is harder, and I'm just totally rambling at this point, but I could go on and on about being a mom, I guess. So anyways, let's move on to another question. How did you and your husband meet? That's kind of a funny story. I actually saw him on TV about a year before we actually met. We went to college together, kind of. We both went to college in Columbia, Missouri. I went to a small little women's college called Stevens College, and my husband went to the University of Missouri. And the summer of 2005, I was renting a house from a girl down in Columbia, and she didn't have cable. We didn't have internet, if you could believe it. So the only thing to do, it was during May, the only thing to do, because I didn't have a job or anything, was to watch, you know, the basic cable or the basic networks. And so I watched Wheel of Fortune every day. And during the month of May, they had a Big 12 week, and Mizzou used to be part of the Big 12. So I remember the day that they had the guy from Mizzou on, and I was like, oh, that guy's kind of cute, and he like lives in my town. That was my husband. So there you go. About a year later, not quite, we ended up meeting and just kind of got together from there. But yeah, so we kind of went to college together, but not really, because we were at two different schools. But I did see him on TV about a year ahead of time, and I did think he was really cute when I saw him on TV. Next question was, where do I see myself in 5 years? Possibly with another kid, maybe not, maybe. Hopefully out of this place that we live in right now. Hopefully this is not permanent. And then, I don't know, doing YouTube still, maybe? I don't know if YouTube will still be a thing in 5 years. I bet it probably will be. I have really enjoyed doing it. I've been doing this beauty YouTube thing for almost 2 years now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think I would still be doing this. And I have a little Etsy shop, which I will try to remember to link to up there. I usually link to it in my videos. But I do cross stitch patterns, and I really have enjoyed that. So hopefully I will still be doing that. I still kind of imagine myself as being a stay-at-home mom, maybe with a part-time job. I don't know. We'll just kind of see. It's kind of hard for me to visualize 5 years out, but it's really not that far away because my son is almost 5, and I feel like I was just pregnant like last year, but it was like 5 years ago. So next question is, who is your inspiration for starting your YouTube channel, and then what is your favorite part of making videos? I would say like directly would be Bunny from Graveyard Girl, just because she was the first like beauty guru that I really ever watched. And I talked about this a little bit when I reviewed her palette earlier in the summer. I just kind of fell in love with her when I first found her, and then at first I didn't watch any of her beauty stuff, just her does this thing really work kind of videos. But slowly after I started watching her more and more, I got more into her beauty videos, and then from there I started watching other people in the beauty community, and I saw a lot of people doing Ipsy unbaggings, and I was really curious about Ipsy, so I really wanted to join and do that subscription service. So once I finally got my own subscription service through Ipsy, I said, of course I have to start making videos again, because I had done it before, you know, a couple years ago when I had my son, or before I had my son when I was pregnant. I did the pregnancy vlog kind of thing. So I don't know, it was kind of a whole thing all together that kind of made me want to get back into it. And then what is my favorite part of making videos? I would have to say the editing part, and that might kind of sound weird to some people, but I love editing, and unfortunately I don't have a great editing software program. I just have the free one that came on my computer, the Windows Movie Maker, which is really kind of crappy and it doesn't work very well. When I was in college, I worked on Final Cut Pro, that was like 10 years ago, so it's like a really outdated version, but I really enjoyed working on that back in the day, and I learned a lot. So I've kind of always had that kind of desire and that passion to do editing like that. So it's really cool that I get to do it now, you know, kind of not as a living, because that's definitely not what this is, but as a hobby, I guess. I can use those kind of skills that I learned in college for my hobby, so that's kind of cool. So I definitely would say that that is my favorite part of making videos, though actually sitting here and talking is really fun too, though it does give me a little bit of anxiety, but that's okay. I mean, I actually did go to school for broadcasting, if you can believe it or not. Obviously I never pursued that professionally because I'm not very good at it. I wanted to be, for the longest time, I wanted to be on the radio, and I did that in college a little bit. I worked at the college radio station, and that was really fun. Just like about halfway through my college experience, I realized that I wasn't like that passionate about broadcasting anymore, and I wasn't that great at it. So I kind of, you know, did other things. But like I said, I really did like working with Final Cut Pro back in college, so that definitely, you know, kind of translates into the making videos thing as well. And of course the broadcasting part does too. All right, next set of questions. What are your favorite books or movies? My favorite books, oh gosh, I used to be a really big reader. Like I would read like 50 books in a summer or something like crazy like that. And just the last, I don't know, ever since I had Harry, I just really don't have the patience to read anymore. But I would say my all-time favorite book is called These Is My Words. And it's a book that is written in the form of a diary about a girl traveling across the United States in the 1800s. It's amazing. If you get a chance to read that book, it is so, so good. I've heard of quite a few other people that have read that book and have just absolutely loved it as well. It's amazing if you can read it. I don't remember the author, unfortunately, but it's amazing. I love that book so much. I've read it quite a few times, but that would probably be my #1 favorite book. I also like the Harry Potter series. I also really loved Memoirs of a Geisha back in the day. I think I read that a couple times as well. And then when the Da Vinci Code was really big, I was really big into reading at that time, and I loved that series. I thought that was so good. Dan Brown is a really great writer. Well, maybe he's not a really great writer, but his stories were really fascinating. And then let's see what other questions we have. Oh, favorite movies. My favorite movie of all time is The Coal Miner's Daughter, which is about Loretta Lynn, who's a country singer. I just absolutely love that movie. It stars Sissy Spacek, and I just think the story is so cool, and I love all of that old-time country music. I just love it. And then my next favorite movie is Freaky Friday, the one with Lindsay Lohan. I love that movie, and that's actually where I got the inspiration for Harry's name. The little boy in that movie, who's like the cutest little boy I had ever seen, his name is Harry. It's her younger brother. So that's where I got the inspiration for Harry. Not from Harry Potter, as I think most people probably think, because I am a big Harry Potter fan as well. But I just never thought of, nobody even asked me where I got the name Harry from, but I'm gonna tell you guys anyways. So yeah, I think everybody thought it was from Harry Potter, but it really was from Freaky Friday, because I never thought of using Harry as a name for an actual kid until I saw that movie, because Harry Potter was this fictional character, and then in the other movie, you know, there was a super adorable little boy named Harry, and I just like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. I love that name for a little boy. It's so cute. So that's where the name Harry came from. And then let's see, what other questions do I have? Sorry, my tablet keeps turning off here. What did I go to school for? I do have a degree in communications, with an emphasis in broadcasting. And then through that, I also learned about filmmaking, and then I did a lot of like event planning stuff as well. Then I also have half of my master's degree for strategic leadership, which is kind of an offshoot of an MBA. I don't think I will ever finish it, just because I honestly don't think it would benefit me at this point, and I don't want to waste my money. And I know education is not a waste, I understand that. And I did really enjoy the classes that I took through that program, but at least for now, I don't have any plans on actually obtaining my master's, but it is cool to say that I have taken some master level courses, I guess. And then what is the most extreme thing that I've ever done? I went parasailing in Mexico a few years back. That was really fun. That's when you're kind of attached to this big kite thing, and the boat kind of pulls you, and you're kind of like gliding through the air. That was beautiful. Like, I will never forget how gorgeous the water looked from all the way up above. It was so beautiful. But I've never gone skydiving or bungee jumping or anything like that. I don't even like to go upside down in roller coasters. So I'm not much of a risk taker, but parasailing was something that I always really wanted to do, and it was so fun. I would definitely do it again if I got the chance. And then the next question is, have you ever traveled outside of the United States? Well, I did, go parasailing in Mexico, but I actually used to live outside of the United States. From the time I was 6 months old until I was about 4.5, I lived in Saudi Arabia, of all places. It was for my dad's job. He worked for an accounting company, of all things. So we lived over there, and I was actually born in California. So from California, we moved there, and we lived there for about 4 years. Sorry, there's a hair. And while we were there, we got to travel a ton. And unfortunately, because I was so little, I don't remember any of it, but I've been to, let's see if I can remember. I probably don't even remember every place that I've been, but England, France, Turkey, Egypt, and I've been to the Seychelles and Mauritius, and Germany maybe too. I don't remember exactly, but I have been quite a few places. Oh, Scotland. I know I've been to Scotland as well. And then I've also been to Canada and Mexico. And I think that's everywhere that I've been. If I could live anywhere, where would I live? Either LA, San Diego, or Arizona, probably. I don't like cold. I really don't like cold, and I don't like snow. Like I said, I was born in California. I was born in LA, and I was actually born at Cedar Sinai, where all the stars go. So every time I hear that, and I know this is like silly and stupid, but every time I hear like Kim Kardashian gives birth at Cedar Sinai, I'm like, hey, I wonder if she gave birth in the same room that I was born in. And like I said, I know that's silly, but so I would love to move down south, somewhere either out in the Southwest of the United States. I like that climate. It's been a long time since I've been down that way, but if I could move anywhere, that's where I would move. Who are a couple of my favorite beauty YouTubers? I would have to say Emily Noel 83 really ranks up there for me. She was a broadcaster, and I think her voice is just so beautiful. Like, I could listen to her talk all day, and I trust everything that she says. I've gotten a lot of stuff based on her recommendation, so I really, really like her, and I think she is probably the most trustworthy beauty YouTuber that I've come across anyways. I like Tati to an extent. Some of her stuff can be a little bit much, but I do enjoy her for the most part. I think it's fun that she tries out those super expensive products. And of course, I really like Graveyard Girl. Who else do I like? I like Jaclyn Hill's style, mostly. I think Nikki Tutorials is one of the most talented makeup artists that I've seen on YouTube. I just think she does amazing, amazing looks. But yeah, I watch all the big ones. I'm not necessarily subscribed to all the big ones, but I do at least watch some of their videos from time to time, just to kind of, keep up with the beauty community, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. I just watch a whole bunch of different people. And then what does my husband think about my box subscriptions? I've actually just unsubscribed from 2 of them over the summer, so it's not quite such a crazy obsession anymore. I don't get Ipsy anymore, and I don't get a Lord Beauty box anymore, so I'm really just down to Sephora Play, which I love that box. That box has been great all summer. And then I also get the Fortune Cookie soap box. He doesn't really understand it though. He's just like, what? Why do you need all of this makeup? You don't. Which, of course, I guess is true, but he just doesn't get it, that it's just fun to have. So I don't know, he kind of stays out of it. He doesn't really care about it. All right, so I think I have gone through just about every single question that I was asked, and I do have one more that I will kind of address. I don't think I really have a good answer for it, but she's asking about different kinds of food and exercise tips for anyone starting out to lose weight. And I had lost 30 pounds, and I was really proud of myself, and I did that through Weight Watchers, and I think that at least, okay, let me start over. Weight Watchers up through December, when they changed their plan completely, I loved, and ever since they changed their plan, it took me a while to get used to it, and for a while I was doing okay, but I will be completely honest, I have been struggling. A lot of it has to do with my husband's job too, because, and I know that sounds weird and it's like a total excuse, but his schedule this summer has just kind of been all over the place. It changes day to day, basically, when he's going to be home, which kind of dictates what kind of meal I'm going to make for myself and for my kid for dinner. So I will admit I have been struggling, but when I was doing really good, motivation for me, as she mentioned in her comment, was MAC lipsticks. I just thought that was a really fun motivator. So every 10 pounds I lost, I was able to allow myself to buy a MAC lipstick. So that was really fun. And as far as exercise goes, I'm bad at exercise. I really don't like to exercise. I like to go for walks, so I will take my son on a walk around the block, or we'll go to the park. And what has helped me with that is wearing a Fitbit. Now I have been bad about wearing my Fitbit the last couple of months, or the last like month and a half I think. But when I was wearing it, I was kind of obsessed with it, and that really does help I think to keep me on track as far as getting at least a little bit of exercise in. So I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that since I am struggling myself. And I wouldn't say don't join Weight Watchers if you have never done it before, especially you might like the program. It's just they totally changed I think everything, and the point values all kind of got flip-flopped around. I think the idea behind the new plan is really a healthier way of living, which of course is a good thing, but with the other plan, you could kind of have a little bit more, and that made it easier for me. So I don't know, there's pros and cons, and I'm not on Weight Watchers anymore. I'm still trying to follow the plan. I just haven't been sticking to it as well as I should be. So I am kind of struggling, but hopefully, when things maybe calm down, which they're not going to for us for quite a while, I just have a feeling. But if they ever do end up calming down, then hopefully I can get back into it and, really stick to the plan. And so I think those are all the questions that you guys asked me. And again, thank you all so much for asking me these questions. This was a lot of fun, a little anxiety inducing, but still fun. And hopefully this wasn't a snooze fest of a video for you and you found something out relatively interesting about me. But I don't know, if there's interest in the future, I definitely would be open to doing another one of these videos. But I think that is all for now. So of course I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. We can also connect on Instagram. I will have my link listed down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!